Would you sign Reece James as that fullback?
No.
Or a centre-back? You wouldn't sign him, would you?
No.
Why is that?
Because he's shown time and time again with Sunderland, with Wigan, with Blackpool, that he can crack it in League One, and he's great in League One, but he can't cut it in the Championship. He's shown it with 3 separate clubs.
It's rubbish! Because I keep seeing this on Twitter, and I'm not saying it's you, Jack, but I keep seeing this on Twitter. We have just had a fantastic season with us where he's played under a manager, and he's played better than he probably has for those clubs in quite some time. That is what a loan spell does, right? That Blackpool team I'm sick of seeing people go, oh, well, a Blackpool, why would it, if Blackpool, they've got relegated and they don't want him at League One level, why would we want him at Championship level? Because he's played bloody well for us, right? And he seems to fit in this core and this dynamic. And I don't understand why people think just because previous stats of a player, like, oh, well, he didn't cut it then, that specifically means he's not going to cut it in a completely different scenario. Look at all the players that leave Sheffield Wednesday and do really, really well at different levels. Reece James plays really well in this squad. He believes in the manager. He spoke about his work with him previously at Doncaster Rovers, and he's worked under Darren Moore. He's now stepping up a level where I think his performances have been fantastic this season. Reece James is a no-brainer for me in terms of the count. And I am just tired of people saying, well, why wouldn't Blackpool want him? He probably wouldn't fit that because it'd be a different dynamic, and it'd probably actually reset some of the progress and the form and momentum that Reece James has currently got if he went back there. It would make more sense for us to pick him up at a slightly reduced deal, in my eyes. Jack, do you want to retort on that or let Jake go? And then you can come back to it.
I'll collect my thoughts and I'll let Jake go.
Okay.
I think Reece James would be a cracking signing. He wouldn't cost too much. He's in the last year of the deal. You've got someone who already knows what Darren Moore's system is. He already knows all the coaching staff. He's worked with them already. Yes, the times in the Championship, Wigan, 0 appearances, Blackpool, 17. Yes, he's not had many spells in Championship, but he's 29. And I think a 29-year-old in that kind of thing who got experience, and he's been so pivotal in our going up this season. It's so interesting to see how it's all been and how we get on from there, because at the end of the day, if Darren Moore got the best out of him in League One, what do you think Darren Moore could do with him in the Championship? This is my thing. The key,
and he doesn't have to be a starter either, does he? No. Necessarily. I mean, he will be. I think as a centre-back, actually, he offers us quite some... You know, in that middle of that... on the side of that centre-back, he's the one that you feel like can run forward and then also get back. You know, he's the one I don't worry about in that back line, apart from when he tires. And when every player starts to tire.
If you think
I think he's better than Iorfa.
Yeah, but what I'm saying,
at the minute...
that's the thing, but you need 2 players who are going to come back. The one thing we said about the Championship, it's going to be fast, and we're going to need players to go back when they go forward. He's ideal for it.
Yeah. I do think that it's one of those situations where it's not worked for him at Blackpool. Not much has worked at Blackpool this season, you know, and they loaned him out. And now he's had... It's just all about the right environment for him, and I think Darren Moore is that manager. Because if you look at it, he played his best football at Doncaster under him, and he's playing his best football again under him at Sheffield Wednesday. And I think it's one of those situations where, for once, a player lines up really, really well with the club and the current situation with the management. But Jack, your thoughts adding to that?
I will say, had he been 24 and not 29, I would have signed him. But because he's 29... and effectively, he's passing his peak of footballing ability on average. The average, I think, of players being at their peak is like 27 to 29,
This ain't Football
30.
Manager, though. That's the difference, right? We all think players that pass 29 on Football Manager, they're a bit too old. But in terms of this, if you think... We're talking about a 37-year-old Jamie Vardy potentially coming back and us all being like, oh, yeah, he'd do a job. Because that's true. It depends on the peak, doesn't it? And where they're at. Actually, realistically, if you look at stats, Reece James could potentially very easily have another 2 years of peak football before he starts to go on the decline, if you were to look at the average. So it's one of those where I go, does the versatility not swing it for you? The fact he can play left wing back and centre back, and we've got a player there that can do both.
also think we don't have much in that position when he plays the position he played this season.
Yeah. Does that not swing it for you slightly, Jack, the positioning and the versatility of him with that?
No. No.
Fair enough.
Because if you look... What does everybody always say about Dwight Gale? Has always said about Dwight Gale. Fantastic for the championship, but can't cut it in the Premier League. That can apply to players further down the pyramid. And at the same time as well, why would Blackpool now let him go when the manager that signed him for Blackpool has just returned to the job of Blackpool? And oh look, he's done really well at getting a team out of League One. They will want to get out of League One. Why would they get rid of him?
Well, if they do get rid of him, I think it's more of a case of the swing of the fact he's bought into the squad here, and Blackpool will need money and balance in the books a little bit more because they've been relegated.
But at the same time, how much of this decision making is nostalgia based? I feel like a lot of this is riding the high of this is part of the squad that got us out of League One again.
I'm going.
I get you. I don't think that's the case with Reece James. Yeah, I also think it's the fact that he signed a 3-year deal. And he's into his last year. So financially, it's either, if it doesn't work out at Blackpool for him this season, he either leaves on a free or they cash in on him this season. And that's why it adds up for me. They try and take it, they get a small fee for him from Wednesday right now. It just makes business sense. No, it's interesting to have the counter argument there.
Where do you see Reece James in 3 to 4 years' time? Because that's what we need to be thinking about. That's what Darren Moore wants to think about.
I see Reece James here for 2 to 3 years. I see in 3-4 years, I see him on his way out at Wednesday. But for in the time between now and then, I see him at Wednesday and doing a job. So
it's one of the 1 year of being the right side of 30.
That doesn't specifically matter. That really doesn't matter. It depends on your shape and your conditioning. Reece James doesn't play like a 20, like he's losing anything. If you look at his pace and you look at his work rate and you look at his stamina levels. So I don't understand why we'd be concerned that he's going to hit a 3 at the start of his age in the next year. That's not a concern to me, especially when it really isn't in the position he plays in. Especially the fact if he does convert fully to centre back, centre backs can go on and on and on if they keep fit. So
Jack, and also your whole thing on age, Palmer 33.
Exactly.
You wouldn't be saying right now, get rid of Liam Palmer, would you?
Well, probably not, no, but Liam Palmer's done more this season for me. He's looked a step above. He's looked like he shouldn't have been in a League One team. Reece James looked like a promotion-chasing League One player.
I don't agree. But if that's your opinion, that's fair. No, it's interesting. I think he's the right fit for us at this time, personally. But we'll see what happens.
I think it will be very difficult for Blackpool to let him go on the thing. He just got up with a promotion-winning team, and I think having the manager there that signed him will help him stay. I think the thing is with Blackpool, they've had such a stupid season with what's happened off the field. With manager galore. Like he said halfway through the season, I haven't spoke to anyone at Blackpool at all. Like full stop. So having that thing, I think he will stay, but I think we'll try and put a deal in place, but I think they'll turn it down.
Fair enough. We'll see what happens.